Hi, this is Ceema and thanks for clicking onto this video. Today we're going to talk about how to overcome laziness. Well, being lazy is something that we all are guilty of at some point in time. Now, a lot of us are guilty because it's really cold and we don't want to get up from bed. We just want to stay in bed. A lot of us are lazy because we've had so much of work and we'd rather not do anything all day. But the kind of laziness that I'm talking about is a state of being completely idle, a desire to do absolutely nothing, or a state wherein you start resisting any kind of effort. Now, when you are lazy to a point wherein you are so idle, you have a desire to do absolutely nothing and you completely resist putting any effort at all, I believe it can be a real barrier to being successful in your life. So it is very important that you overcome laziness. So all of you who are lazy enough to get your backsides off the couch or the bed or wherever it is that you are lazing at this point of time, you need to listen very clearly. We will deal with laziness by talking about a few things we need to do to make sure we stay active. The first thing, which is very important to overcome laziness, is breaking down a task. Now, what do I mean by breaking down a task? Now, I believe that if you are lazy, when you see a task that needs to be done, you are so overwhelmed. You are so scared or daunted because you see this huge task in front of you that you don't want to do it because you are lazy. But to come out of that lazy mode, you've got to break one task into several different works or several different tasks. So, for example, I may have a household chore. Or maybe one of the works I have to do today is household chores. Now, what does household chores include? It includes me sweeping the floor, swabbing the floor, cleaning my wardrobe, maybe, cooking a little bit, taking the dog out for a walk. Now, when I look or perceive my household chores as so many different tasks, I get very scared. I become even more lazy just thinking about it. But if I were to break down the household chores into several different tasks, that would make it more easier for me to go through with it one at a time. So what would I do first? I will first sweep the floor. That's task number one. Okay, so I get up, I sweep the floor. Then I swab the floor. And that way I keep doing every task in the right order. And when I do that, I will soon see that I have almost completed every of the works that I wanted to do. So breaking down a particular work or task is very important if I want to overcome laziness, because this is what gets the job done eventually. All right, the next thing that I need to be very particular about when I want to overcome laziness is to get good rest, good sleep, and proper exercise. Now, contrary to popular belief that to be lazy means just resting is not the right thing, because when you are lazy, it could also be because you've not had enough rest, you've not slept enough, or maybe you've not exercised enough. So it is very important that you have, proper rest, maybe 6 to 8 hours a day, and you exercise properly, you eat well. That helps you be physically fit to overcome laziness to a very large extent. The next one is having a vision. having a vision is nothing but having a plan of what you want to be. So you've got a plan. So you've got a plan as to, you've got to have a plan as to what kind of a person you would like to be. So if you have a laziness issue, it is very likely that you will not be successful into becoming the person that you intend to become, maybe personally or in a professional level. So you've got to have a vision. What do you see yourself doing maybe 5 years from today? Maybe you want to climb the corporate ladder. You can't do that by being lazy. So you've got to have a vision of where you want to end up, say 2 or 3 or maybe 5 years from now. When you have a vision, you automatically motivate yourself. You motivate yourself into taking those necessary steps to come out of that lazy mode and do something in a more active way. So having a vision in turn motivates you, and that will help you become the person that you will be, that you will want to be. And that's how you get out of laziness. The next point to overcoming laziness is weighing the consequences. But I'd say that you have to not only weigh the consequences of being lazy, but also, more importantly, the benefits of overcoming laziness. Okay, so let's look at the benefits of overcoming laziness. So if you have a household chore, you take the dog out for a walk, what are the benefits? Your dog does not poop on the floor. That's good enough? Okay, well, if you're not lazy enough and you sweep the floor, your house does not stink. Is that good enough? That's a benefit. If you are not lazy and you do your bed, you know, it's more easier to sleep at night. Your bed does not stink. That's better, isn't it? Maybe if you clean your wardrobe, it's so much more easier getting ready for work the next day, right? See, you have so many benefits with overcoming laziness, don't you? But what happens if you are lazy and do not battle the lazy bug inside of you? Okay, let's see the consequences. If you don't take care of yourself, you end up looking really bad, right? If you're lazy enough to maybe comb your hair or take a bath, you won't get a date maybe, okay? If you are too lazy to take your dog out for a walk, oh well, he's not going to give you a very good time at night, will he? If you are too lazy to make your bed, I can assure you that while you are sleeping, you might just fall off your bed, or while you are going to sleep, you might trip on something in the bedroom. So you've got to be very careful about what is going to happen when you are lazy, as opposed to what's going to happen if you overcome the lazy bug. Well, I'll be back with some more points on how to beat the lazy mode in you. Well, the next point to overcoming laziness is visualization. Well, what is visualization? It is nothing but imagination. And what does imagination really mean? It basically means playing things in your mind, playing things in your head before you are going to do those things, okay? And that is what we all do, don't we? On an everyday basis. Now, visualization is very important because it affects our mind, it affects our habits and our actions. So whatever you think, you do. So if you want to overcome laziness, you've got to think of doing things, and therefore you will do that when you imagine yourself doing it. So if you want to maybe, do a good job at work on a presentation that you are given, but if you have a problem of being lazy, it is very important that you visualize or you imagine yourself doing the task efficiently, effectively, and in a very energetic and active way. So whatever you feed your mind, you eventually do it in action. So visualization will help you overcome laziness if you imagine yourself doing the things that you ought to do and get out of the lazy mode. Now, procrastination is something that you would need to strictly avoid. In fact, procrastination is one of the biggest barriers to overcoming laziness. And what is procrastination? It is nothing but delaying, which means if you have to go out and take out the trash now, you might say, oh wait, I'll just do that in an hour's time. If you've got to go down to buy, bread or go down to buy something, you might just say, I'll do that for later, or I'll have someone else do it. But what happens when you're doing that? When you procrastinate or when you delay, you are actually making yourself more lazy, because now you've got a lot of work piled up. So you've not taken the trash, you've not done the dishes, you've not done your hair, you've not gone to the laundry. So you've done all these other things that are now piled up, and that makes you even more lazy, because at the beginning we talked of breaking one task into several different tasks. But now you've got so many tasks piled up, and that makes you even more lazy. And therefore, procrastination or delaying a work or a job or a task is something that you have to strictly avoid. And the most important thing is learning from others' success. Okay, now I believe that when you look at successful people, you will see that they have always had an active life. They've always been those people who've worked efficiently. So if you want to overcome laziness, you've got to keep a close watch on the lives of those people who've been successful. So when you know what they've done to avoid laziness and done the right things to stay active and energetic, that's how you will also become successful. Well, that's it on this lesson on overcoming laziness. I hope you've enjoyed and learned from it. I'll be back with a new lesson. Until then, this is me saying goodbye.